Hello, all, and welcome back. It has genuinely been quite a minute. Um, a lot has changed. The biggest life update is that I moved to Chicago. So if you hear trains and sounds in the background, please act like they do not exist. What I want to talk about today is something I've been meaning to talk about for a while, and that is the concept of curating a personal canon. I came across this article, I would say like in June or this summer, and it really got me into thinking more about how I want to be remembered and also just about the media that I consume. Like, don't get me wrong, I consume a lot of bullshit, but it made me think about how media reflects who I am. And so I, set out on a journey to curate my own personal canon. And I want to do it every year because I love to reflect on my personal canon and see if who I am right now resonates with who I am later. So, to get into what a personal canon is, in this article, she's basically talking about how media informs how we view the world. We all know that, but it's like beyond just like consuming media for the sake of enjoyment, there are some things that we consume that genuinely stick with us forever, and they impact our worldview. And so in creating a list of the media that most resonates with you, you kind of have a reflection of who you are at that moment. In her list, she has books, movies, and shows. On mine, I have my notebook. If I'm looking down, I have books, songs, and movies. So today, I want to talk about each thing that's on my personal canon list and why. I want to start with books because I think all of these reflect me, but I would say the books are like a good starting point because they really show my reflection so much more, I don't know, vividly or like descriptively, whatever. I'm gonna be like using this screen and looking down because I want to use like visual blank cues something. The first thing that is on my personal canon list for a book is Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. Honestly, it's hard to put into words what this book means to me, but it came in my life at a time when I really, really needed it. I will say Sister Outsider holds a mirror up to you in a way that nothing else that I've ever consumed has done. Like, as a black person, as a woman, as a queer person, Audre Lorde writes in a way that is just, I can't even explain it. It just is. It's beyond words what this book means to me. And it came at a time when I had so much fear around who I was, my identity, my place in the world. Like, I just love it. One of my favorite things or chapters in the book, for context, first of all, like the chapters aren't chapters. Like, it's not a novel. It's like just a separation of concepts because it's essays and speeches. And my favorite chapter is one called The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action. It's an essay that basically talks about how fear does not save us. And obviously fear is a human reaction or like a actual thing that helps us to perceive danger. But what she's talking about in the book is like the concept of being afraid to speak your truth. And I'll link it below, but all in all, before I start rambling, this book means a lot to me. If you've read it, I'm sure you can relate. It's like definitely personal canon material. The next thing that is on my personal canon list, if you are my friend in real life, girl, you already know. You already know. It is the autobiography of Assata Shakur. I read this book in 2020. Actually, this was like a book I read before Sister Outsider. And I can 100% say this book radicalized me. I remember reading this book like it was yesterday. I was at work. I was working at this job I will not name. They were low-key racist. I was one of the only black girls. I was reading this book, and I was just met with so many emotions that I had not experienced before. Hearing about Asada Shakur, her life, her legacy, who she was so inspiring, but also so heavy at that time in my life. My eyes are glassy because it's low-key sad. Like, Asada Shakur obviously has now gone on, and I'm so thankful for the legacy that she left behind and her just documenting her own story, because, as I said, it's very heavy. Like, this book is not a very happy book, but it's real, it's raw, and it really does tell her story. And her story is one of a true revolutionary. And so I love this book. And I love this woman. And I hope that her spirit rests in peace. Okay, the next book, before I start crying on camera or something crazy, like, what's going on? The next book is The Stars and the Blackness Between Them. This book is on my personal canon because it, like Sister Outsider, it talks, it's like, it's obviously not about me, but I can relate so much to the characters in this book. This book is about, how do I say it without spoiling it? It's two teenagers. They are queer. One of them is Trinidadian. One of them is Black American. The Trinidadian girl gets sent to America because her mom finds out that she is gay, child. And it's a story about them finding themselves through finding one another. And I'm not usually a young adult fiction, what is it called? YA? Yeah. I'm not usually a fan of those, but this book will always have a place in my heart because it made me feel very seen. It made me feel very, very seen. And I think the author does a great job of writing about them in a way that just feels, it's so cute, but it's also, it's like really real for that period of your life. If you read this book, I will warn you that tears will be shed. And not because they gay, but because a lot happens in the book that is very sad. So, yes. Anyway, it will always have a very special place in my heart. The next book, I feel like any of my friends already know my personal canon, even if I haven't told them, because this book I've talked about with literally everyone who will listen. The next book on my list is Jambalaya by Louisa Tish. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But a part of me finding myself establishing my place in this world after reading Asada, after reading Sister Outsider, was deconstructing and decolonizing my belief in my religion and spirituality. This book is written by Louisa Tish, who is a practitioner, and she's basically talking about specifically voodoo and hoodoo, their roots, and what it means to deconstruct. Basically, she's talking about her background. She's talking about the foundations of like African traditional religions, and I love this book. I think it's a book that, like, you take the meat, leave the bones, but it definitely reflects me and the place that I am in terms of my spiritual journey right now. So it belongs on my personal canon for sure. The next and final book that I will talk about is Kindred by Octavia Butler. I love this book. It is not a happy book. Many of these books are not happy, joy. But this book, it combines all the things that I love, like history. There's an aspect of like Afrofuturism, science fiction, I guess, or I don't know. It's just a culmination of all the things that I usually enjoy. And it's about this girl who gets stuck in between time, literally. I won't spoil it, but it's so beautifully written. And again, it's not happy, but Octavia Butler's ability to, her foresight is one hell of a gift. May she also rest in peace. This book is a great one, and I think it definitely reflects me and the place of my life that I'm presently in. For the next portion of the video, I want to talk about songs. So I'm going to pull up their lyrics. This first song that I want to talk about is Rose in the Dark by Cleo Sol, whoever, girl. People pronounce it differently. This song is a part of my personal canon because it reflects the love that I have for myself, but also how much I've grown over the years. I remember the first time that I listened to this album and I heard this song and I just cried, girl. I just cried because it speaks about Cleo Sol and her growth as a person, and it's so beautiful to be able to look back on the ways that you've changed and to feel genuine admiration for who you are now, or like in the present tense. So I love this song. Like, I think this part definitely is me. Like, her saying, like, I prayed so hard I thought I'd lose my mind. There are definitely moments in the past where I really had to tap into my self-belief, and it all paid off because now I'm a little stronger, period. The next song that's on my list is Overjoyed by Stevie Wonder. This song is on my personal canon because I am I'm a lover girl real bad. Not only that, but it's on my personal canon because growing up, I could only listen to basically old school music and gospel. So I listened to a lot of Stevie Wonder because my parents are older, and I think this song really reflects me in my lover girl era because he's talking about a lover that, like, he has basically, or a lover or a love that he's imagined into fruition. And I genuinely relate to that because, you know, what can I say? Real lovers get it. This song, it makes me feel so happy and so much joy inside because it's not only is very beautifully written, but I think really sums up how I feel about love too. So I love it. The next one is also a The next one is also a Stevie Wonder song. It's Ribbon in the Sky. I always talk about this with my close friends, but the very first time I ever heard this song, I was at Universal Circus. Southern girls know. I was at Universal Circus. There was a black woman on a trapeze. This started playing in the background. Mind you, I'm like, I would say maybe 8 to 10. I'm like in between that age. I remember hearing it and just being like, it felt like a horn from heaven. Like angels came down from heaven and were playing this directly in my ears to me. That's what that moment felt like because, mind you, I'm in an all-black circus. There's a black woman on some actual ribbons. Ribbon in the Sky starts playing in the background. I just remember thinking, like, have I ascended? Have I? I love this song for the same reasons I love Overjoyed. It's about love, but also it just makes me feel so much genuine happiness. So, yeah, personal canon material. The next one is, I'm looking down because my journal is in my lap. It's Darling, Darling Baby by the OJs. My dad used to play this song all the time. And this song is a part of my personal canon because it reflects, again, how I feel about myself. It reflects how I see myself because you deserve the best. You should get everything a queen sitting on a throne should have. and I'm gonna do my best to give it to you. You know, you're a very special lady. You're everything I've ever hoped for in a woman. Like, that's very much so me to me coded, and that is why it's on my personal canon. The next song is, girl, this video is about to be long. The next song is So Wonderful by, not by none of these folks, hold on. João Gilberto. The first time I ever heard this song was after watching Eat, Pray, Love, which is also on my personal canon, and I'll talk about that later. But basically, it's on my personal canon list because it was the first time I ever heard it on Eat, Pray, Love. That's it. That's all there. The last song on my personal canon list is Free by Denise Williams. This is another song that when I heard it as a kid, I was like, that's about me. Because she's talking about the idea of being free. Like, I don't know. Obviously, she loves someone. She's talking to someone. But she's like, at the end of the day, me, I got to be free. And I felt that. That's all I want to be. Free. Felt. The last thing that I will talk about today before I leave you all is movies. The first one being Eat, Pray, Love with my girl, Miss Julia. Oh my God, I was about to say Julia. You know I never make a fool of ya. Seriously. Eat, Pray, Love is long as but 100% worth the watch because also, why they say the Hater's Guide? What's that about? Wait. I don't care what she's talking about, girl. I don't care if she hated it or not. I love it. And that's why it's on my personal canon. This book is about finding yourself. And for the synopsis, I won't spoil it. Julia Roberts her character is just really going through it in life. She breaks up with her man. She gets a plane to 3 different places. And in each place, she discovers a new part of herself. Eat, Pray, Love. And I love this movie because I think it speaks to my love and appreciation for autonomy. Autonomy is one of my biggest values. And I think that it's such a huge thing for me in like my adult life. If I don't feel like I can have autonomy in a situation, immediately I'm like, no, this cannot be true. This movie, in my opinion, regardless of the critiques it may receive, to me it speaks to how discovering yourself will always yield you like 100% return on investment. Because when you do the things that are in your best interest, when you follow your gut, when you follow your intuition, you always find what you need to find. So I love this movie. I love this movie a lot. The next movie, come on now. Love Jones. Love Jones. I know the girls might eat me up for this because I think I heard somebody say this is a horror movie. I don't agree. I think that this movie, it's a lot going on. I think both of the main characters are problematic. I think they both did things they shouldn't have done. What I also think is that this movie is so nostalgic and so reminiscent of like what 90s love probably was. I don't know because I wasn't there. It's just very realistic. They love each other, but they're also going through real shit. They also put each other through shit. It's just like, that's real life, and that's what I love about this movie. At the end of the day, they chose each other. Whether they needed to be together or not remains to be seen, but they did what made them happy, and that's all that matters. Moving on. The next movie, Valerian. The plot of this movie is so ass, but the reason that it's on my personal canon is because it sums up the things that I like in a movie. Like, I love movies with made up worlds, made up characters, just like a whole, where am I right now? And this movie has some good ass CGI. I love CGI in a movie. Like, when you ever seen some people that look like this? You haven't. Like, come on now. I might watch it right after this. I just love that they made up so much stuff in this movie. Like, they really did some very serious world building, and that is my jam. So for that, you win a spot on my personal canon. I'm starting to feel silly, obviously, but we better wrap this up. Because the last movie is Sinners. And this is actually pretty new, because it just came out this year. But, again, I've never seen a movie like this. It is so special to me. It is so special to me. Because I also think it speaks very specifically to the Black American experience. I've shared this before. I'm Black American. My family has been in America for centuries. And so I think we really needed one of these. I don't know why they call it strange. Let's get off of that picture. Let's not do them either. Let's do the cover. It just speaks to my experience, especially having very Southern roots, having family members who were sharecroppers, having family members who did have a lot of spiritual gifts, having family members who just lived the life that some of these characters actually lived in real life. This movie means a lot to me. But yeah, girl, I'm starting to act silly. A lot of time has passed. All in all, that sums up my personal canon for now. I hope that this video resonated with you. I hope that you go and make your own personal canon. And that's it. That's all. Thanks for watching.